On to another part and the final part of Sea-Doo Hydrocross. So, this is just the fall tournament. What the fall tournament is the same fucking shit you've seen from the last part, except now it's mirrored. It's literally in reverse, like just mirrored. You're not going backwards, but you are essentially just getting the same track, but they flipped it. And here is the best boat in the game. It's the only boat we need. And in fact, points don't matter anymore now. All that matters is just racing. Which, if you've got on this boat by now, that's all you should be doing. Because getting points will not get you anything from here on out. So yeah, all I gotta do is just race and win this tournament, and that's it. Now, it does essentially put into question, why? Why the fuck is this a thing? Why am I being made to now do this tournament shit all over again, all 3 of these divisions, all 8 of these tracks again, but the only difference is that they flip the fucking maps, and that's it. I mean, yeah, I get to play around with this fucking boat now. I get to play around with the advanced. But, that's not really a good reason for me to do this, huh? And really, that's all I can say about this. We're now back in that territory of, like, I have nothing else to say outside of what I just told you. That was like 2 minutes. We have, what, like more than 30 minutes to go? Like, there is also the fact that they have elongated it by a bit, but they have elongated it, because you might have noticed I'm on lap 3 right now, and I'm about halfway through. But the thing is, it's not going to end on lap 3, because they've now put in 4 laps instead of 3. So not only am I having to do the same shit again, but they've now increased the lap number to make this go longer. Why? This feels like super unnecessary padding. And to make matters worse, because I've tested it out, I've gone through and done this and the previous tournament, again with a different character. In case you're wondering, there is no like separate win progression thing here. The end screen will show something, it will show all the characters in like a fucking white box around our character that we've chosen for this run. That box does not stay if I then do this again with a different character. Instead, the white box to be on the character I'm playing as. So, if you beat this whole entire tournament thing, if you beat both tournaments, all divisions and shit, you're beating the game 100%.
Great job.
There's not even any unlockables to get from this game. These records have already been beaten, so we got nothing out of that. Hell, I'm beating them again with a newer boat, because we had to use a slower boat beforehand with a lot of these races. But as we continue on further and further, I was getting faster boats, which means that I'm going to end up getting, essentially, you know, second place on my records here. Because I could have beaten those times very easily, in fact, with this boat. But they made me do 4 laps instead of 3. So, no matter what, I'm going to end up eventually not being able to beat my records, because I have to add another, like, what, minute into this shit? There's no separate records for this. So, I mean, you're essentially just having to fucking... Once you beat the records the first time, and once you take care of both of these tournaments and you beat tournament mode, there's nothing else to get from this game. There's no more boats. There's no more things to do. There's no unlockables. if you've done training beforehand, which I've done, you've also done the other 2 levels this game has, essentially. So, yeah, this game has nothing. It literally has nothing to offer at the end of the fucking day. And that's just sort of the thing you should kind of expect from Vicarious Visions a lot of the time with the games back then, before they had the logo that we would get used to. You know, not this like very old logo that showed up in this game, but the usual logo you would have gone in like the Spider-Man games on PS1 and such. In fact, I believe it's about around the time when the Spider-Man games that they did actually started coming out, that we actually got the Vicarious Visions that we actually know of, well, knew of. And we actually got a lot of the good shit that we got from them. Of course, we also got the GBA games, but even those with Pro Skater, you know, those were good games on GBA that they did. I mean, yeah, the later ones, you know, they kind of sucked, but there was still a bit of quality to them overall. And I mean, look what happened to them recently before, you know, Activision decided to fucking kill them off. You know, they gave us some great stuff. They gave us, you know, Crash Insane Trilogy. They gave us Pro Skater 1+2. Gave us some absolutely fantastic stuff. And they were able to work so fucking well under the horrible act of crunch time. They are able to produce massively well despite that fucking hindrance. And it's what made them such a great fucking team in the first place. But back then, that wasn't the Vicarious Visions. That wasn't that Vicarious Visions. This was this one, where they made shit like this. And it's just like, it's forgotten, it sucks, it's boring, it's mainly just boring. And it shows you where the team was to where they would become. And now here we are, where they're just part of the lineup of developers that Activision owns, that are now having to be forced to make Diablo and Call of Duty now. Because, fuck me, we need money, right, Activision? We totally need money. Despite you being one of the multi-millionaire publishers out there, you're bigger than almost all fucking companies in the video game industry. The only ones that are bigger than you are Nintendo, Microsoft, and fucking EA maybe.
Get ready. 3, 2, 1, go!
Like, seriously, you are pretty much up there at this point. You could fart out anything, and the casual gamer, the casual buyer, will buy your shit because of your name on it. You could literally just release absolute garbage, and I bet you anything, you'd still get millions. That's pretty much what you've done some years ago. You released complete fucking trash, and you were still able to make bank out of it. So, really, Activision Blizzard are completely fine. There's no issues with how they handle things. But because their mindset is so strong on money only, that they're willing to basically fuck themselves over as long as they get some kind of gain out of it in the end. Hell, the controversy that happened because of all the sexism and shit going on in their fucking industry, you know, that shit happened, and yet somehow they're still fucking standing, and they're still making a lot of money out of their crap, and they're still getting away with all of the shit to the end of the day, really. By the end of the fucking day, no matter how that event went, the sexism will probably still be happening no matter what. It's still going to be around.
They're making their move.
So ultimately, Acti Blizzard can literally fucking do anything and they get away with it. Because they have that power now. They have that fucking namesake on them. Like EA does and shit. Where they could do fucking anything. And no matter what the reception is, they'll still be fine. They're basically up there with the likes of Disney in this sort of like video game world area though. Disney is like multimedia, and Disney is too fucking powerful at this point for anyone's good. But Activision Blizzard, they are pretty much high up there. And really, very little companies can actually compete with them. Again, EA, the most obvious choice. Then you got Microsoft, Nintendo. Nintendo only recently, because of Switch though. If not for Switch, Nintendo would be down there, honestly. If the Switch didn't happen, Nintendo would be below Activision Blizzard by now. They would not be the namesake they used to be and are right now. They would get their sales, they would be, you know, a fairly decent powerhouse. But they would not be a big name. They would not be up there in the fucking money they would be getting and shit if they didn't release the Switch. Let's be real here, the Switch saved Nintendo right now. But yeah, it would have just been Microsoft and EA against Activision Blizzard, and that's it. Ubisoft ain't close to them. Many other publishers and developers aren't close to them. Sony? Not even Sony really, because a lot of Sony's in-house developers are just like fucked, essentially, especially in Japan. And really, the PlayStation has had a lot more going in from, you know, people who are part of Microsoft or even Activision Blizzard, rather than from Sony. Sure, they have the PlayStation, but it's like, for consoles, sure, but for publishing, for games, not so much. So it really is just Activision Blizzard on the top 5 of the big boys, and they still are, and they haven't lost their place in the top 5. Even after all of this shit, they're still high up there, whereas everybody else is still pretty far below. So the very fact they even have to worry that hard about money to where they have to literally take all of their developers that they own to make a game for like 1 or 2 series, those series being Call of Duty and fucking Diablo, quite honestly is just stupid. It's just absolutely fucking dumb. And the only reason they're doing it is because they are so greedy that they need more money to add to their fucking mansion of money. They don't need it, but they so desperately want it that they believe that they need it. And so we basically lost vicarious vision from a developer to a support team. And until that team gets built back up, they're just going to stay a support team. And the thing is, even if the team is built back up, what are the chances we're going to really get that vicarious visions back? If Activision decides to make them a developer again. To be able to make games again for themselves, rather than only support another developer in making games only. Because a lot of the team isn't there anymore. They got shifted around or taken out of the fucking circulation entirely of Activision. So, like, really, are you really going to get that same vicarious visions, or are you going to get a completely new team under the name? Because, for the most part, I don't even, like, see a fucking reality where they're not going to just cheaply contract a bunch of, like, people so that they don't have to pay so much money on a team for a big game. They want to be able to make as much while spending as little as they can. They would rather spend more money on advertising than they would on a developer.
Get ready. 3, 2, 1, go!
I bet you anything, there's a good chance that people who work in marketing with the publishers and shit probably make a bit more than someone being in, like, programming or art direction. Like being an artist for the games. Because that shit's hard work. Whereas, quite honestly, marketing isn't that hard. You need to be smart. You need to have some knowledge. You need to fucking, you know, be able to understand what the market wants. You need to be able to know what sells and what doesn't. And you just look at your product you have to market, and you fucking basically just work that shit out. And that's it. Then you pay people to make all the shit you need for the advertisement. You know, the actors, the cinematographers, any fucking pre-render stuff from the dev team you need. So you're paying them to make that shit too. Also, this area sucks. Just before I mention that, this area here, take the normal path, you can end up going into the ground and kind of getting stuck there. So, best to avoid going the normal route for this map. The normal route for this map sucks. It's the worst thing. There, I just went back to the game for a bit. But yeah, the marketing team, it's really all brain for the most part. It's all just thought process for the most part. It's not so much action. It's just knowing the budget and knowing what to do with it and knowing how best to get people to buy your products. Whereas there is a lot of handwork coming in when it comes to the actual dev team, when it comes to artists having to draw constantly, having to model constantly, deal with textures and shading and shit, and make sure everything looks right and doesn't look off when it's animated and shit and bent about, making sure the rigging is fine, having to do tons of testing out of that. You know, programmers having to constantly code every fucking second, essentially, getting bug reports up the ass, trying to figure out what's fucking things up, and hope by fixing that, it doesn't fuck something else up. And having to constantly make builds over and over and over again, send them to the fucking game testers, who are already getting paid pennies, essentially. And just fucking having to keep doing that over and over again until the day you can finally have the gold release, essentially, the final build, and have that be finally sold out to get fucking prints out in the millions, and then sold to people. And then you fucking wake up the next day and everybody's bitching that your game's broken. You have to make a fucking day one patch because you have to rush everything and things still fucked a bit. And the thing is, you're probably getting blamed for all this shit. The public is giving you shit for having to put all that effort in, despite trying so fucking hard to make sure this shit works even decent for your paycheck and such. oh, but the reviewers are giving you a 3 out of 10 now, so your pitch getting a bit cut off because we wanted a better game, but you didn't give us that better game, so we're just gonna just lower the contract a little bit because you're not doing your job good enough. Imagine if that fucking happened. That would just be fucked. The only reason they can't get away with that is because the courts would then get involved. The lawsuit would get involved, and that ain't gonna happen. Because that means money goes away. And right now, there's no lawsuit going on, currently really, when it comes to the sexism thing. It's just a fucking strike and shit. And they can wait out a strike while paying out the cheapest, most budgeted fucking people who are willing to just do anything for some kind of income. Even if there's a strike going on, they want the money. They want to fucking live. They want to eat. So they're gonna fucking take the job in place of the people who should be doing the job because they're the ones actually getting paid for it. But they're on strike, so instead, the fucking contract workers being paid $50 a fucking week or whatever for this additional work, they're the ones having to fucking take your spot for now until the strike's over. And then they, give you a little bit of compensation, make a little tweet about it, and then they move on, and in fucking 3 years' time, the sexism is back up in full swing again. Like, it doesn't fucking change. Because these assholes don't want it to change. These assholes don't want things to get better for the people. They only want to get better for themselves, for their own gain. And that little moment was not one of those things. But they could simply just wait it out and walk out of it fine. Because at the end of the day, only 10% of people are actually going to know this shit. And the other 90% of people buying their stuff don't know a fucking thing and probably don't even fucking care. So Activision Blizzard are gonna be just fucking fine. Honestly. No matter what happens with them, they're gonna be fine. They could literally have Donald fucking Trump running the business, and they'd be fine. Like, for a whole fucking, 5 months, let's say 5 to 6 months, Donald Trump is the fucking president of Activision Blizzard. He's running the fucking show. The news is going absolutely bonkers wild about it.
Great job.
And even during all of that time, they'd be using it as publicity for themselves to get attention, but they won't lose anything because majority of the people that are buying their games and shit don't know this, and they don't give a fuck. They just want the new Spider-Man game. They want the new fucking Crash Bandicoot.
Get ready.
And they're only gonna buy it and play it for a day or two, a fucking week at most, and then forget it and move on to the next big fucking game, another Fortnite or whatever. So I mean, I hope you're understanding, basically what I've been seeing for years. Cause seriously, this has been happening for many years. Many fucking years. With not just Acti Blizzard, but EA and everything. They have gotten away with a lot of crap and have really not taken that much damage from it. Even if they couldn't win something, they're still making fucking millions. They're still making shit tons of money. Even if a project completely failed, even if a game series, a potential game series, bombed on the first go, and they have to cancel the whole thing, they still wouldn't really lose that much. They'd still be able to regain quickly by just re-releasing an old title or making a quick budget game under a popular known series title, and people would eat it the fuck up and they would make their money back. Fuck these tires, man. They suck. But yeah, just keep that in fucking mind, everybody. The game industry is corrupt. It does suck. And the indie scene isn't that much better. But the difference is that you are your own boss for the most part in the indie scene. You don't need a publisher, really. You are your own publisher. There are many ways for you to just self-publish at this point, and you are probably better off self-publishing at this point. So, that's the only little difference. You're always gonna get assholes. You'll always get manipulative assholes. You'll always get money-grubbing assholes. You'll always have assholes, no matter where you go in the game industry. Horrible, horrible assholes. Well, the difference is, at least with the indie scene, you have more control for yourself. Whereas, with AAA, for Activision Blizzard, you've got fucking nothing. Even if you went out and went on a strike, even if you tried to take them out in court or whatever, at the end of the day, you're still going to lose, because they're still going to be the winners in the end. They're going to get away with it, you're still going to get fucked in the end, and you're probably going to quit working for them in about a year or two, because, or you're probably fired in a year or two, because you don't want to deal with this shit. In fact, a lot of people, from what I found from the Black Lives Matter movement, ended up having jobs for a lot of these sort of companies. How many of them are still there right now? Because I bet you anything, a good amount of them were silently fired out of the fucking job. Like a year later, they were silently taken away from working there. And now they're back trying to look for work. Well, they probably just moved on and did something else. And how many of them also have that, you know, you can't talk about agreement? Because that's a fucking thing. I forgot the name of it, but there is agreements where you literally cannot talk about a fucking thing. Or else, legally, they can sue you. Because that's the thing when it comes to game development and times and shit, especially back then. And I bet you anything, even when people get fired, there's that shit going on, so that they can't bitch about their job and such, and reveal all of the horrible stuff behind the scenes, or what have you. They can't legally do that. They have to shut their mouths, or else they would have to pay up to the fucking millions in damages in a court case, because they broke the agreement. I would not be shocked if at least one of these companies did that. So that no matter what, they can get away with fucking anything. I mean, they kind of are, considering you're not really a part of the company if you're a contract worker. You're not, like, a part of the team, essentially. You're being paid, but whatever you do is not, like, signed with the company. you're just there to do the one thing for the one game or whatever, and then you're out. And it is the cheapest thing that they can do, so that no one who actually wants to get into game development ever actually gets properly paid and given proper treatment and such. Because again, they want to make as much as they can as cheaply as possible. So I bet you, if any of the people in that strike that happened were contract workers, Activision Blizzard would not have given a single fucking shit about them. Only the people that actually work for them, they would have actually given a shit about. And even then, it would be a tiny bit of a shit. If anything, the media attention they got is what they actually gave the most shit about, and even then, it wasn't that much.
They're making their move.
So yeah, I know this entire video has been me just bitching about Activision Blizzard and bitching about the game industry currently and how much of a fucking shit show it is. But I just really wanted to go on that rant, considering this game was made by Vicarious Visions, and I'm still pretty fucking antsy and shitty about how VV was treated after Pro Skater 1+2. And I just really wanted to get that out there. Because at the end of the day, they're gonna get away with it, and Vicarious Visions is still gonna be fucked over, and there's nothing we can do about it.
Great job.
Activision Blizzard still wins by the end of the fucking day, and the world is still burning. Anyway, I've now been in the tournament, which means we now have been in the game, and what is our reward for doing so? This screen. That's it. That's all we get. We get to see all these beautiful pieces of artwork, a box around our character, that trophy, winner, and then we're gonna choose to do a new tournament and redo everything for no reason, or just leave. So yeah, there's nothing else. We can check the races right now and check what all the levels were and where they were and such. We'll check, change difficulty if we wanted to. Notice the water thing. It's just not there. By the way, here's all the voices.
Do it.
Yeah, listen to all these low-quality voices.
You won't be sorry.
Why they make the black guy sound dumb? My fucking god.
What are you looking at?
These are so bad.
C'est moi.
Oh god.
I would be a wise choice.
I swear to god, there is some racism going on in this. Especially the black guy. My god, that's an ugly design, and they made him sound dumb. I'm pretty sure there's some racism going on there. But yeah, that was the game. That was CD. It sucked. Now, as far as I can find, there was also an N64 version, but I don't think there was anything different or new of the N64 version. It was just this, and that's it. So, there you go. So you do Hydrocross. I don't know what the HVQ thing is there, but here's the credits. And, yeah, that's it. So, what do I think about the fucking game? I thought it was dumb. I thought it wasn't that fun. And eventually it just got super boring and repetitive, especially when it decided to just maybe do the entire thing again, but they flipped the fucking track around and added another lap to it. I found this fall tournament thing to be just trying to extend the time of the game when there was no need for it. So, yeah, that is gonna do it. I did not want to do another short game, to be fair. In fact, I was shocked at how short this was, to be fair. And I never even played it before. But, what the fuck can you do, right? It happens when you just want to find a game and you're in a panic. And I still know what game I'm going to play next. So, that's going to do it. Thanks for watching. And I'll see you all next time for a new game that's hopefully not 2 parts long. Ho fucking Lee.